Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. This is a ballot Q&A. We're going to go through the ballot process for how you will fill out your ballot and send it in correctly. So we're just going to go down the line here. Let me highlight my mouse so you can see. This is the Captain's Cove Golf and Yacht Club Inc. ballot for fiscal year 2024. As many people know, October 1st of 2023 is the beginning of the fiscal year for 2024. Since the directors are going to be elected and seated during fiscal year 2024, it is the 2024 fiscal year 2024 election. So next, you'll see we have candidates for the board of directors. This is a 3-year term. There is one position open this year. So what you'll do is using a pen or pencil or crayon or whatever you want to, you'll mark them with an X in the box like this. I'm just going to go the first person like that. That's it. That's all you need to do. Next, for candidates for alternate, 1-year position. That's only 1 year for that term. We also have one person to vote for. So you mark that one with an X. We'll go with the first one here. Next, going along, we have the sections and lot numbers. So this is where you're going to enter your section and lot number. So if you have multiple properties, you'll put them here. You could put section 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, if that's your lot, right? If you have multiples, you can separate them with a comma or a slash. Or enough spaces that it's clear that it's a different lot. Put them all on one line. Just put them in there and you'll receive one vote for each of those properties that you list on this ballot. So you only need one ballot to vote for multiple properties. Next, you're going to put in your signature here. Obviously, this is going to look pretty terrible because I'm drawing with a mouse, but whatever you need to do. And then you're just going to put the date that you fill it out. So that would be 9/8/23. With that done, you're going to put this into an envelope that's sealed. Put a stamp on it. You need to have it postmarked, so it needs to be picked up by the post office before or by October 27th, 2023. You're going to send it to our independent audit team right here at this address. And as long as you get it in there before October 27th, it's going to be counted. So any ballot improperly marked or delivered shall be deemed void. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit in a second. But first we'll finish this. The results will be announced at the annual meeting of the members on November 18th, 2023 at the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company at 10 a.m. We usually have this at the Chincoteague Center, but due to an HVAC repair issue, they were not able to accommodate us this year. The repair is going to be taking place, so they moved us across the street. Parking is still going to be available in the Chincoteague Center, and everything will just be a slightly longer walk across the street, but that's that. So now let's go back and talk a little bit about any ballot improperly marked or delivered shall be deemed void. So for improperly marked, let's talk about this. Let me go ahead and delete what I've put in here. Let's say you made a mistake and you didn't actually mark it with an X. You colored it in. So guess what? This is not a Scantron. That is actually going to be counted as well. Now, let's say you get really creative and you're like, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like the X. I'm going to put a plus in there. That's also going to be counted. Let's say you say mark it with an X. You don't, think about the circle. You do this. That's also going to be counted. Let's say you really like circles. And you do this. It's also going to be counted. There's actual human beings who are reading these ballots. And they aren't going to discount you just because one of these little things didn't get, wasn't an X, or they didn't think it was right. They're trying to count as many ballots as they can. I will tell you, though, what is going to cause a problem. So if you mark this person, and then you mark this person, now they have no way of knowing, did you mean this candidate or did you mean this candidate? This entire ballot for the board of directors portion is not going to count. You're not going to receive a vote for Hall or Felt or Painter or whomever you mark. If you mark two of these, they're not going to understand which person you're voting for. So they can't count that. If you don't do the same mistake down here, let's give some variety. We'll go over here. This one is going to count. You are going to get your vote for an alternate because it's clear to the auditors who you intended to vote for that director position. So that is the main way that we've seen ballots have problems, is that somebody marks more than one person. You think you get maybe 2 votes or something like that. So you're like, I've got 2 votes. I want to give them for this person and this person. Well, it's not going to work because you only get 1 for each position. So it is important that you mark the envelope ballot, but if you don't, it won't not count. It's not going to not be counted. It's just possible that it might get lost in their office, in the auditor's office. It might not get routed to the right person in time. That's the kind of concern. That's why we ask you to mark ballot on the outside. So with that, I think I've covered everything that I've heard questions about. So let's move ahead and start the Q&A. Is there anybody online? I've got one right now from the chat room, so we'll get to that in just a second. I see Lisa, you go ahead and you've got your hand up, so go ahead. How can I help?
Yeah, Justin, this is John Vista, not Lisa.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. Question, since Ms. Hall is listed as both on for the board she's in both actually. Mm-hmm. Her circles are marked on the top and the bottom. Is she going to get a vote in each?
Yeah, you could mark if you wanted to mark her for both, like you could absolutely do that. That's fine, because these are 2 separate elections counted individually. If you decided that you wanted to vote for, maybe you want Hall as a alternate, but you want Painter as a, as the director position, you do that, whatever. But yeah, it's totally fine to vote for the same person for both positions.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, let's move along to somebody from chat now. I think we got, is it acceptable to fill in the complete circle, or should put an X over the completed circle? Either one is fine. You can fill it in, you can put an X, anything that, as long as you have highlighted the specific item or the specific candidate that you are selecting, the auditors are human beings, they're going to look at it. And as long as you can, place an order on a takeout menu at a sushi place or something, you shouldn't have any problem. But I appreciate the question. Next, we had another question on the chat. Okay, this is about a replacement ballot. That's a great question. Let's talk about replacement ballots. So today is the 8th. That represents 2 full weeks since the actual postage date of the ballots going out. If you have not received one by this time, that should have been enough time for you to request a replacement. So all you need to do, send an email to Angela Winder, and I'll go ahead and put her email address in the chat right now. awinder@captscove.com for those who might not be able to see the chat. And she's going to confirm your mailing address. And we're going to take one of our extra ballots that we got from the mailing house. We're going to stick it in there, and we're going to send it to you with a first-class stamp. All right. You can request one ballot, but it's very important. We're going to confirm that you can request one ballot per member as a replacement. So, because we need to keep control over the number of ballots that go out and who they get sent to. Any more questions online? I'm not seeing any at the moment. Yeah, okay. Well, I think that covers everything. If anybody has any more questions, you can, let me know. I, prefer to have it in during this because this video is actually, the screen share is going to be uploaded to a YouTube account, and we're going to be circulating the URL for that link so that people can watch this after the fact. But hopefully that covers. Oh, I got another question to double check. This is one vote per lot, not one per owner. Correct. You get one vote per lot, not one vote per owner. It is per lot. Each property gets one vote for the candidate for the board of directors and one vote for the alternate per lot you own. Oh, and another last minute thing. I had a few questions about this. It's kind of been put out there. You may have noticed on the ballot that comes to you, the envelope that it comes in only has one of the members' names. So maybe you own it with another person, husband and wife, something like that. We ran into a problem a few years ago where we received back from the post office from Norfolk, never even made it to New Church, a stack of maybe somewhere between 150 and 200 ballots that had gone out, the mailings, the envelopes. And they said undeliverable as addressed. So I took those ballots, and I brought them to the New Church post office, and I said, can you tell me why these weren't delivered? And they said, no, we would deliver that fine. It must have been a problem in Norfolk. Reached out to the Norfolk post office, essentially the headquarters, and I never got a response from them. So what I did is I reached out to our mailing house, the one that does the printing and the mailing and all that stuff. And I said, do you guys have any idea why these weren't delivered? They show as valid addresses. And what he said was, we've noticed that sometime around 2020, the Norfolk changed the way they automate their mailings and the way they read addresses. And it's causing problems for when you have two names. So if you had like Mr. and Mrs. Smith at, this address, that would have come out fine. That would have been delivered. But if you put, let's say, John H. Smith, which is how it appears on your deed, ampersand, and Jane, Q. Smith, that was getting not delivered, which was very weird. I don't know why that happened to this date, but because of that, we've set the mailings to go out to just select the top name that's on the deed with the mailing address, and to send that to that person, to that address. We removed duplicate addresses, so essentially you're not going to get multiple addresses sent to two different properties. But in the event that you have two different, so let's say you have John Smith and Jane Smith, and John Smith has a different mailing address than Jane Smith. To cover all our bases, and like perhaps you have another home in Florida or something like that, we're sending a ballot to both of those, so that either address should receive a ballot if you have it on record with us. That was our best way of getting the ballots to the most members. So in case they didn't forward their mail and they're in a different location, they should hopefully still get their ballot, but you can always order a replacement ballot. Another question, does a replacement ballot have to be mailed to the address of record, or can it be sent to another address? we can send it to another address, but you're just going to have to confirm with us your identity and that location. So we'll have to do that with Angela if you need it sent to another address. But that, just let us know, if you're not there, you're somewhere else, we'll need to confirm your identity somehow if you call in or email. But we can send it to another address. That's not a problem. So, okay. This auditing house has an ampersand. Do you foresee an issue? No, I don't foresee an issue. Because you're going to be sending these with a first-class stamp. It's not a bulk mailing like this is. Send it with a first-class stamp that generally tends to avoid that issue. I haven't seen any issues with the ampersands, and I don't think it's the ampersand that's actually the issue. I think the issue is that the two names it doesn't recognize the two full names as either a resident of the property or something like that. I don't think the ampersand is an issue, because we also tried printing them with a comma, and that didn't seem to change anything. So I have a feeling this is something to do with how the post office has changed when they do bulk mailings of thousands of letters. So another question: I've heard mailing out of a Maryland post office directs mail better to a Maryland address. Have I heard the same? I don't know about that. That's beyond my knowledge, but it's an interesting concept. I don't think that from practicality reasons, I would want to mail from out of Maryland, but it's certainly something that could be looked at if this issue continues. So, all right, do we have any more questions from people with hands up or anything? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate all your time this morning. Thank you very much. And like I said, this will be posted to YouTube to share with other members of the community afterwards. All right. You guys have a great morning. Thanks.